Hello, Void Dwellers. I just wanted to make this little quick video to comment on the Stephen Fry issue and how remarkable it is that it is an issue. For those of you who don't know, Stephen Fry is an English actor, one of those national treasures here in the UK. I have known about him most of my life because I was always a bit of an Anglophile, and you can't be one without coming across Stephen Fry in Blackadder, or part of the comedic team Fry and Laurie, or his many other roles in films and shows. He was also considered a gay icon when he came out. And he was always considered this kind of stereotypical, soft-spoken, posh English person. And I had no idea he was even Jewish until a few years ago. See, Fry is one of those British Jews who wanted to fit in, who put their Jewishness behind them and thought of himself as pretty much just British. And he lived under the delusion that he would get away with it, as many Jews in history thought. In fact, he is one of those Jews who thought that by attacking the one Jewish state, he would consolidate his place in British society. And so in 2008, he joined an open letter to the anti-Semitic paper The Guardian, opposing the celebrations of Israel's 16th year of independence. And that's when I learned he was even Jewish. And now, watching his entire worldview collapses in front of his eyes, he made a Christmas message for Channel 4 in which he came out as a Jew and talked about the fear that Jews now feel in the UK.
One truth about myself, however, that I never thought for one single second would ever be an issue about which I had any cause to worry in this country was that I'm a Jew. Yes, you heard me correctly. I am a Jew. That may surprise some people. Does it matter? I mean, I don't really identify as Jewish. I accept and claim the identity with pride. I am Stephen Fry, and I am a Jew. The horrendous events of October the 7th and the Israeli response seem to have stirred up this ancient hatred. It's agonizing to see all the violence and destruction that it's unfolding, and the terrible loss of life on both sides brings me an overwhelming sadness and heartache. But whatever our opinions on what is happening, there can be no excuse for the behavior of some of our citizens. Since October the 7th, there have been 50 separate reported incidents of anti-Semitism every single day in London alone, an increase of 1,350% according to the Metropolitan Police. Shop windows smashed, Stars of David and swastikas daubed on walls of Jewish properties, synagogues and cemeteries. Jewish schools have been forced to close. There is real fear stalking the Jewish neighborhoods of Britain. Jewish people here are becoming fearful of showing themselves in Britain in 2023. At this time, in the face of the greatest rise in anti-Jewish racism since records began, Jews should stand upright and proud in who they are. And so should you, whatever your genetic makeup. Standing upright means speaking up and calling out venomous slurs and hateful abuse wherever you encounter them. Knowing and loving this country as I do, I don't believe that most Britons are okay living in a society that judges hatreds of Jews to be the one acceptable form of racism. So, speak up, stand with us, be proud to be Jewish, or Jewish, or if not Jewish at all, proud to have us as much a part of this great nation as any other minority, as any of you. And so, this mad, quintessential queer English Jew wishes you, whatever your race or creed, however you identify yourself, all peace, joy, and a very merry Xmas, formerly known as Twittermas. And now let's all exhale that great sigh that Jews have sighed for thousands of years. Oi.
As you can see, he doesn't support Israel in the message. He doesn't excuse the war in Gaza or ignores the loss of life on both sides. He says nothing that could be considered offensive or would cause hurt. only he actually does. You see, speaking out against anti-Semitism in the West, and particularly in Britain right now, is considered offensive to some people. And the comments he received were so violent and vile that Channel 4 had to turn off comments on the YouTube video of his message. Which is ironic, considering Channel 4 is one of the pushers of anti-Semitism in the UK. Why are they so ashamed of what they helped to create? This incident proves again, without a shadow of a doubt, that anti-Semitism in the West has reached now its Nazi-era levels, and that it has absolutely nothing to do with Israel, with what Israel does, or with what is done to it. It is also proved beyond a doubt that Zionists were right. That this fantasy that anti-Semites would just accept us Jews if we bow our heads and be nice and contribute and entertain them like dancing monkeys chained to an accordion player is false. And I identify with Mr. Fry completely, by the way. I used to be the same way. When I moved to the UK 6 years ago, I was going to leave the Middle East behind me. I was going to work on my accent, I'm going to fit in, and I'm going to be British. I even thought of changing my name to something a bit more English sounding, and I said repeatedly that if I had children, I wouldn't raise them Jewish. Because, like Fry says, I didn't feel particularly Jewy. And I always found myself connecting with European cultures. But like many other Jews across the globe, I started doubting this as time went by and I experienced life in the UK. I started seeing weird and troubling things on the news, on the streets, on TV shows, on the statistics about hate crimes from Home Office. And then, like Fry, I was rudely awakened to reality following the 7th of October atrocities. That the Britain that I have in my mind, the West that I have in my mind, the left, my political side that I have in my mind, is an idealized version that does not match reality. I may not feel Jewy, Stephen Fry may not feel Jewy, but to them, the haters, we will always be nothing but Jews, no matter what we do. Bowing our heads and begging to be accepted does not work. We need to learn from the struggle of the black community in the States, or even the Muslim communities everywhere in the West, who never apologize for who they are, they never hide it, they never ashamed of it like we tend to do. And their lesson to us is this: you don't beg to be accepted, you demand it. Our motto should always be, we are here, accept our existence, or expect our resistance. And as we change our mindset, we need to reach out to the millions of atheists, Muslims, Christians, true liberals who are out there, who are not part of this new Nazi movement that is taking over the West, not of their own volition anyway, who are a lot of the time being duped into supporting them because they, the haters, very cleverly have infiltrated all the right causes, from environmental causes to gay rights, which is hilarious considering what most anti-Semites think of gay people. But that's why we have the term useful idiots. And one of the main weapons used against us is ignorance. Most people who are duped by the haters simply don't have the information. They don't know what being a Jew is. They never heard of ethno-religious groups. They don't know the history. They are being kept in the dark on purpose, by design. Consider this. During the congressional hearing with the three heads of the US biggest universities, it came to light that none of them teach Jewish history. None. A 3,000-year-old culture that the entire Western world and the Muslim world plagiarized, and they don't teach the history. The only class there is, apparently, is this indoctrination class about Zionism designed to convince the ignorant students that all Jews are evil and that those who believe in self-determination are racist. Ignorance is their main weapon. So that has to be the main thing that we attack. That is what the next phase of Zionism should be about. which is why I'm going to do more about it on my channel, such as it is, doing my little part in educating people about us, about our culture, about our history, about how anti-Semitism is now an acceptable form of racism and how it shouldn't be. I mean, it's remarkable that this has to be said, but the human creature never fails to amaze in its ability to disappoint. So here we are. So to everyone out there, and all of you void dwellers, here's hoping for a better, safer, and more moral 2024 for Jews and for everyone else.